All right, everyone, here we go. So recently, Afro Nation, the largest Afrobeat festival in the world, published their next event, which will be in Portugal in June, and they also published their lineup, artists that are going to be on stage gracing or performing on stage at the next Afro Nation event in 2024. Guess who is not on that stage? Guess who is not represented in that lineup? Your guess is as good as mine. So let me show you guys what's going on, because I thought this was a very fascinating and interesting thing, to have these lineups and these artists that are represented in the next Afro Nation event coming up. And I think it is very telling who is not listed on that and which artists are not listed on that. So let me show you real quickly here. So where is my screen? Okay, so here is Afro Nation's, as you can see, in Portugal, June 26th through to the 28th. And here is their lineup, which I thought the artists that they picked for this lineup for this year, I am impressed. I think these artists are really great artists. So you have Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj will be performing at the next Afro Nation. You have Rema Ashake, which is I think that was appropriate, because Ashake has really been having a tremendous year so far, and he's really been killing it. Omale, Diamond Platinum, Odumodu Black, up and coming artist, great. Nigeria, the composers, and you just go down the list. Guess who you're not finding in any of these? Your guess is as good as mine. Ghanaian artists. None of the Ghanaian artists are represented in any of this. None of them are going to be on the lineup or performing at the Afro Nation 2024. That is, to me, very, very telling. And you know why that is? Do you know why that is? They were excluded from this. And again, this is my personal opinion, but I can almost guarantee you that it's possibly aligned with my personal opinion. They were excluded from this largely because they have been seen as provocateurs against Nigerians. They've been seen as hostile against Nigerians. You remember the recent ban that occurred last year, where the likes of Black Sherif, Samini, a couple of all these people that came out to initiate an 80-20 so-called rule banning Nigerian music. I think that Afro Nation, the two Nigerians and the organizers of Afro Nation, saw that to be the wrong move and the worst move, especially against the largest artist when it comes to Afrobeats, which are Nigerians, the owners of Afrobeats. And Afro Nation, which has been a festival to promote, African music, Afrobeat, whose mission is to unite African music, whose mission is to bring African people together. That falls against their whole mission and their whole purpose here. To go against the biggest music genre out there, Afrobeats, and the artists with your so-called 80-20 rule goes against everything Afro Nation stands for, which is why I think they were excluded from this. So in other words, Ghana is hurting itself, its music industry, and their artists. See, when they did that whole thing last year, remember I said they didn't think this thing through. They've always made wrong moves. When I think of Ghana, I think of wrong moves. When I think of Ghana, truly, I think of wrong moves. I don't remember the last time Ghana as a country made a smart, sensible move that one could say, that was a smart move. When I think of them, they always seem to make the wrong moves. And that last year was a wrong move. That was such an emotional triggered move that they didn't think it through. And they got such a huge backlash for it. They didn't get the response they were looking for. To come up with such a ban against Nigerian music, now it is hurting them because now none of the artists, none of them, not even Black Sharif, was listed in the lineup. That is telling. That is telling, especially with the fact that Afro Nation has been in Ghana twice. Ghana has enjoyed Afro Nations being in that country with the revenue they pulled in, with the presence they gave Ghana, with that whole thing. Afro Nation really put Ghana on the spotlight. Ghana was put on the spotlight because of Nigerian artists, because of two Nigerian entrepreneurs who started Afro Nation. And to find out that none of the artists are included in the lineup for this year's Afro Nation in Portugal, that is telling. That is telling them that that move was the wrong move. Because think about it for a second. You're banning Nigerian music, the largest artist in the world when it comes to Afrobeats, the largest Black music genre in the world. You're banning the owners of Afrobeats, the ones that are giving you opportunity. That is like, do you understand that? And I think that they thought somehow this was going to play out in their own favor. And it's not, because now they've been excluded from this. They're being excluded. Now, again, I have no doubt that perhaps, that decision was made by a lot of people that went in and say, no. If these people are saying that Nigerian artists' music cannot be played in their country, we got to see them as a hostile country. How are we allowing them now to perform on stage and rewarding that bad habit? Because that is what you call anti-unity, anti-African unity. That's an anti-African unity. I can almost guarantee you that had a lot to do with that decision, not to have one of the artists, not even one was not even present. That's telling. That is telling. And you know what is so hypocritical about that? And I talked about this already extensively when I did my video, when I responded to that whole thing last year, is that you often hear Ghana say that Nigerian artists don't support them, Nigerian artists don't. That's like a crybaby thing. There's never been any one country in Africa outside of Nigeria. There's never been any one country outside of Nigeria that enjoyed the type of support that Nigerian gave Ghana. There's never been. Name me one. Name me one. Davido, Burna Boy, Wizkid, Ashake, all of our big time artists have all gone to Ghana, graced Ghana, performed events in Ghana, collaborated with their artists. Name me any Nigerian artist that is huge. They've taken Ghana along. So this idea that Nigeria doesn't support them is that crybaby, whiny type of thing. How much more support are you looking for beyond the fact that you've had our artists collaborate with you? You've had Nigerian artists stream your stuff. You've had Nigerian audience stream your music. You even have some of our artists now claiming that our music came from your country. How much more support could you get from a country than you've gotten from Nigerians over the years? I don't get it. This is that situation where you can never please someone enough. No matter what you do for someone, some people can just not be happy. Ghana has enjoyed, and the artists have enjoyed exclusive amount of support from Nigerians over the years. Over the years. And then they still claim that Nigerians don't support them. That's that whiny, spoiled, unappreciative type of personality. You get that? And they don't want to, and they fail to focus on the real issue with their own artists, which is their music is not quality music. If your music, I've said it before, it has nothing to do, you can have everyone collaborate with you all day. If your people and your artists and producing something quality, it's not going to last long. It's not going to live long. That is your problem. You're not focused on your own type of music. You're not focused on producing good quality stuff. You're not focused on producing good quality piece, product. And now you want to cast that whole spell and you want to cast that whole fault on Nigerians. Oh, our music is not going anywhere because Nigerians are not promoters. I even heard some guy. I heard some guy say this one time, and he's from Ghana, on one of their podcasts, saying that Afro Nation is biased towards Nigerians and only features Nigerians. This guy was saying it even while Afro Nation was being held in their country. Afro Nation has never been held in Nigeria. They were trying to hold in a council that you don't see us griping about it. You don't see us griping about it. They counseled, they were supposed to be in Nigeria this year. They counseled it. You don't see us griping about it. Like, oh my goodness. You don't see us boycotting Afro Nation and all of that. You don't, because Nigerians are bigger than that. I, for one, I'm not a fan of Afro Nation and what they're doing in terms of going all over the place. I think they should have one in Nigeria. But nonetheless, I'm sure they have their reasons and all of that. But you don't see us griping about that. Ghana has had it twice. And on top of that, they're complaining that Afro Nation features Nigerian artists more than them. Can you imagine the ungratefulness with that country? I don't get it. Do you want to blame a festival for featuring one of the largest or the largest artists in the world? Who are the largest artists in the world? They're Nigerian artists. So if they're putting Nigerian artists they're putting the largest artists in Afrobeat in the world in Afro Nation, is that something that means favoritism? Any country and any festival does this. And they featured Ghanaian artists in the past. So it's not like they don't feature Ghanaian artists. Every festival features the largest artist in the world. It doesn't matter if it's Grammys, if it's the MTV, if it's the Country Music Awards. It doesn't matter. That's how that whole thing works. If you want that type of spotlight, you have to lift and raise your craft. Like get your stuff up there. But nonetheless, they featured Ghanaian artists in the past. And these ones whine that Afro Nation is biased towards Nigerian. And they have Afro Nation in their country twice. Also, the Afro Nation wasn't biased towards you when they just kept having the festival in your country. You don't see us whining about that. It's that bizarre type of attitude with that country. I tell you, man. So now the artists are hurting. They're hurting themselves because you're banning the creators of Afrobeat and you want to be on an Afrobeat festival. That's boy, I tell you. Boy, I tell you. I tell you. Anyway, that's crazy to me, man. So that's what happens when you make dumb moves and make wrong decisions like that without thinking it through. They had the daughter of the president come out and embarrass herself, talk about, let's do 80-20, let's single out this Nigerian country and all. They had all of that. An embarrassment. She ought to be ashamed of herself. Reggie Rockstone, he ought to be ashamed of himself. Samini, he ought to be ashamed of himself. Black Sherif definitely ought to be ashamed of himself. And now they've hurt their industry and the artists. Look, the biggest festival in Afrobeat is making a statement by saying that, we're not having you here. I can almost guarantee you that had something to do with it. That had something to do with it. And they're going to have to really, they have a lot to repair because they've lost the confidence of Nigerian support. They've lost the confidence of a lot of industry greats because everyone's seeing what's going on here. Everyone's like, look, why are you banning Nigerians? What's Nigeria got to do with your music not being popular? They just want to blame us for everything. What do we got to do with it? We ain't got nothing to do with this. Are we the ones that are gatekeeping people from listening to your music? Do we really have that much power? You think we have that much power to gatekeep consumers from listening to your stuff? No. I mean, we're great, but we don't have that kind of great power to do that. Do you understand this? And I think that is a real telling sign, that they weren't listed. And I think that that's the right call. I think that that's the right call. You know, even as much as I'm not a fan of Afro Nation, nonetheless, I think that knowing the mission of that whole entire festival and what they're all about, which is to bring black people and black music, and African music together, and Afrobeat being the largest genre out there, why would you want to bring a country who seems to be at odds with Afrobeats artists all the time? Why would you want to bring them in there? Anyway, thank you all for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the content, and I'll see you all next time.
Det finns ingen annan där som kan stå här by my side, oh hi. Sättet du rör på det får mig att dö för det, baby. För de här yardis, de vill ju bara dra ner oss. Men du är fett och vanlig på det jag lägger av min tid. Jag vill ha det. Du får mig känna sig